Has anything that's happened, or just in terms of the activities that you guys embarked upon over the last 2 years to kind of fight this perception problem, has that been maybe, I guess, a silver lining, or I guess I'm saying, has anything good come out of the last 2 years?
You know what it's done, at least I'll speak for us, it's really elevated our game. I think as salespeople and as a destination, in the conversations we're having with the customers today are at a much higher level than they ever have been in the past. And historically, it was a dates, rates, and space conversation. Today, it is so much deeper. You know, the call time, if we were to have call time for salespeople, is taking longer, but that's because we're asking better questions, we're asking smarter questions, and we're helping prepare that planner to walk in to sell that meeting to their respective executives. And the better we arm them with any potential objections they might get, the higher conversion we get. So I think a very, very real benefit is it's elevated the game and the professionalism here in the destination.
I would add to that in addition, I think we somewhat became apathetic to looking at other cities, and I think we've been forced to figure out what the value propositions are of those other cities. And once again, it's allowed us to raise our confidence level about the value perception that we have in Vegas, and we've certainly got much better at selling against some of those other cities. I forget all of their names, coincidentally, but you know, the value that we have to offer in Las Vegas is just second to none, and it really has allowed us to help and, as Richard said, be better at showing the customer that value.
I think as an industry, especially Las Vegas, has driven a message into a lot of our industry organizations and allowed a galvanization process to happen with regards to elevating the awareness about why meetings are important and why people need to do face-to-face. And you're seeing it in U.S. travel, you're seeing it in PI, you're seeing it in ASAE, PCMA, IAEE, all the different industry associations. That is a top-line item now for them that wasn't before March of 2009. And some organizations have even written it into their strategic plan.
Tough to say that there was much good, but I mean, I will say, like, for example, when you try to do pricing, I mean, they want year-over-year pricing. It's tough to convince a client that it's an anomaly and you want to go back to some prime years to justify, you know, the higher rate. So they're looking at year over year, and it's tough to get an increase of above 5%. So if I'm going to try to demand a 15% increase, because it's already, I've already put some groups on, it's definitely tougher because of that. Now, I will say, here's the benefit to me, if there is any benefit to the nightmare that happened, and that's that there's a different demographic profile, which is temporarily bad, but during weak periods, it's been okay. I took VA groups during April. I would never look at a VA group. I mean, it's just, they wouldn't be able to command, you know, the rate that I require. But at the same time, I mean, we got another VA group in August that filled almost 20,000 room nights of us. So I would look at it, if you take a look at what we had to do, you know, we got Kentucky Fried Chicken back, or Subway franchise. Some of these guys, you know, maybe, and some of the associations, long-term, they're okay. Short-term, you know.
We love VA groups in Las Vegas.
And we were full.
And they didn't fit in our hotel. So.
Yeah. I think that it's not to say that we love them all. It's just giving exposure to a different demographic than we usually would take. So it's a benefit for Vegas. Vegas getting exposure to them.
We've just had to look at our business totally differently. We were going through business planning in 08, and we were charged with planning for 09. And literally the president of our hotel said, everything you've done, just forget about it and start over. Yeah. And it's like taking that junk drawer at home and dumping it upside down and picking it up and putting the pieces back in again. Everything went back in, but not everything. If things went back in different places, we don't do anything the same as we did in 07, 08. It's totally different. And it's made us much stronger and much better for it. And
that's the point.
To
not that I don't love
and
them.
to your point, it's made us better at what we do. And we're truly salespeople now. I'm not so sure we were salespeople before.
It tremendously benefited our clients.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think I can remember years ago hearing in various sales offices, we get back to clients within 48 hours, 24 hours. Typically now, they talk to a sales manager whenever they call in on the phone. You know, it's become that important to us. And I think that goes a long way towards the client, because I think we'd all admit at one point in time, we were fat and happy in this room. And we'd get around to returning the phone calls, but I think now it's one of these things that everybody jumps on that call, and we give customer service to our clients as good as any city in the country right now.
Maybe the biggest thing is what Chris just said. I mean, now you're talking about, we're offering lower rates, we're offering more value for the dollar. I mean, we always had that proposition over the other cities in the United States with multiple price points and the amount of sheer volume of hotels close to meeting space. But with the rates, I mean, with what's happened, let's face it, the biggest benefactor is the client.
Yeah.
I think another thing is it's pushed us enough out of our comfort zone. To his point, I know when I used to go on the road, I used to hear consistently how Vegas had an air about them, and Vegas thought that they were a different animal. And I think through pushing us really out of our comfort zone over the last 2 years, and to Danielle's point, making us go back to basics, making us take the time to find out who we're competing with, recreating the toolbox to be able to be more in partnership with our clients instead of being more of the catchers, actually going out and being more of the pitchers. I haven't heard in any of my contact with clients how Las Vegas has had that air. It's like Las Vegas is aggressive. They know how to, obviously we know how to perform on what we sell, but it's really, it's improved our image within the country or within the industry. And I hear it from hotel people across the country going, one of our biggest selling points was the air that you had about you. And now we've taken that away because, to Danielle's point, we are much better salespeople. And we are much more creative salespeople, and we understand the value of partnering and long-term partnering and, getting that relationship with the client so we can build that base further out.
Are there any industry segments other than the SMERF that have been more resilient through this whole period than others? And now that our groups starting to come back, are there any segments that are kind of leading the way?
Medical, at least what we see is medical, pharma, insurance, financial. Those are financial and insurance are starting to come back, but the medical and pharma have really led things, if you will. Association has been very strong, and trade show. So from that perspective, we're starting to see those. And when you take a look at the association business, they're actually exceeding what their blocks are. They're seeing a lot more folks attend. So from that perspective, very positive.
And I think the associations are working harder because they understand the volatility of their blocks, and they've been hurt and trying to create a value to their members. So they've also gotten more creative in putting out their trade show or putting out their meetings to make sure that there's a value, and being more on top of their blocks and being more on top of the hotels to make sure that there is that rate integrity to make sure that the blocks are actually picking up.
Yeah, and with that, Vegas as a destination has become stronger because, associations, kind of frowned upon how Vegas handled them before in the past, but now you'll see, we're partnering with them. We're looking at ways to increase their attendance, looking at partnering with them where they've never experienced that before, which just goes back to the point. This just kind of, the whole thing the last 2 years really just kind of strengthened our position because now it allowed us to do things that we weren't doing and make us even stronger and certainly more of a value and a better partner to these programs.
How is 2011 looking? Is it looking to be stronger than 2010?
I think everybody's smiling around the table. That's your answer.
Significantly up.
Yes. Room nights are up. We're still struggling with ADR. I mean, it's a slow climb out of that abyss we were in, but we're definitely way ahead of pace as we're going into this year. So we're very pleased with where we are.
Some hospitality organizations are predicting that room rates will actually increase in 2011. Are any of you expecting to see that?
Yes.
Slightly.
Slightly?
I think the point that Eric made some time ago is that you take a look at where rates are and you literally are lost in 3, 4, 5 years ago in some cases. So that will take time. You can't turn the switch and have that change overnight, whether it's in the meeting segment or the leisure segment or any other segment for that matter. So it's going to take time to rebound to get back to whatever normal is based upon the past.
And we added more hotel rooms during this time.
Right.
A lot of hotel rooms.
And when it does get back to normal, whatever that is, it's still going to be the best value around.
Let's talk a little bit about some meeting trends. Is the trend towards green meetings still going strong? Are you finding that planners coming here are looking to incorporate green components into their meetings?
I found that it comes up an awful lot, and it's typically not a deal breaker, but it's something that Station Casinos has embraced for the last several years, and we have dozens of initiatives in place right now. that we can show any meeting plan, or actually take them in the back of the house sometimes if it's that important to them, to show them what we're doing from a green initiative.
I think it's been huge. I mean, it's been flipped. The Autodesk is one goes flip back and forth between my building and Mandalay Bay, and they track their carbon footprint down to, obviously every individual, the amount of gas that's used on the thing. So it's been huge. I mean, the fact that we're LEED certified has helped in a big way. And they're not the only group. McDonald's did it this past year, of all people. I mean, look what they're eating. Although I love it. I love Big Macs. But it's funny that they would do it.
Yeah.
Vinny, I think you know how I feel about this, but, we've decided and learned really over the years that listening to your customers really has always been the most important things. And our customers are still telling us that green is really important. I think they're also telling us that they're not quite sure what it looks like, and they're looking for a partner to help them figure it out. We're trying to embrace that from that standpoint. We just put together, our entire team is now Green Meeting Professional Certified by SD Environmental Partners. We're planting trees for every cork that's popped in banquets, for every bottle of wine that's served at an event. We're fully engaged in the Teachers Exchange. This past weekend, we had 150 customers in town for an event. We took them to a facility to do a corporate social responsibility event where we painted 10 foster homes on Saturday alone. Customers are not only interested in doing it for themselves, but they're interested in doing it and learning how to run it and operate it when they have their own programs, and they're looking for partners who can help them do that. I think that the only thing that to be sure about when it comes to green meetings is that it's a joint journey that has to be traveled the unknown road together, no doubt.
Right.
With all the things that Jordan's doing, as well as everybody else around this table, I bet you we're doing more as a city than probably 99% of the destinations out there, yet we're not out there flaunting it like some have to. We just do it because our customers ask for it.
And it's the right thing to do. I mean, that's the basic point. I mean, in the RFPs, it comes up, and certainly I think it's more of an expectation now than anything, but it's certainly just the right thing to do, and certainly, to continue those efforts.
I think there's a certain uncomfort about it too, because the primary driver I'm finding is let's do it because it's the right thing to do. And I think people are almost a little uncomfortable when they realize that it also could be a really profitable thing to do. And you do it right for the first, or do it well for the first time because the reasons are right. And then when you find out that everyone's benefiting from it and working together to benefit also financially, it's really a home run as long as those two things coincide there.
How about the corporate social responsibility component of this? Jordan just made reference to an event over the weekend where they went to St. Jude's and painted some houses for some of the kids there. Are you guys seeing at your properties that some of your planners are coming in and saying, look, we want to include an activity option like that in our meeting?
I think first and foremost, when you take a look, and I think corporate responsibility, one of the things we saw this past week on Friday, our chairman, Jim Murin, came and did a presentation on diversity as well as what our philanthropy program is. And bottom line, over the past 8 years, MGM Resorts employees have done contributions in the total of $35 million in the communities with which we live. And that includes things like Habitat for Humanity, which coincidentally this weekend they actually were building a house, and Jim Murin was there with a hammer and nails trying to build the house as well. So from that perspective, taking a look at companies that are doing that, obviously it's incumbent on the green side of things, but also on the corporate responsibility. We all have to take that very seriously in the communities that we live.
To second that, with the convention market, we are definitely seeing a lot of the conventions that come in doing that or adding some sort of component to the shows.
Okay.